Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zach and today we're looking at some more NFT stuff. This does help Ecomi and Veve as far as I'm concerned, so that's why I probably put it in the title. I'm going to tell you why I think it helps Veve, of course, and Ecomi in this video, but essentially, as you can see from the title right here, or at least the headline, sorry, Shopify to allow merchants to sell NFTs directly through their stores. One of the first Shopify merchants to offer NFTs will be the NBA's Chicago Bulls. Shopify president Harley Finkelstein, sorry if I got the name wrong, said Monday his company is now allowing merchants on its platforms to sell NFTs directly to customers. In his tweets making the announcement, he noted that before Shopify's move, its merchants would have to sell NFTs through a third-party marketplace, forcing them to relinquish control of the sale and the customer relationship. Once again, we are putting the power back in the hands of merchants and meeting customers. One of the first Shopify merchants to offer NFTs will be the NBA's Chicago Bulls, which launched an NFT legacy collection on Monday, featuring the franchise's 6 World Championship rings. Sorry for the reading difficulties lately. I'm tired, friends. I'm super tired. Shopify powers the e-commerce sites of over 1.7 million businesses around the world. That's crazy. The company's decision therefore potentially opens NFTs to much more wide adoption. Now, this was the tweets themselves. This was posted about 5 days ago, but still. If you've spent 1 minute on the internet this year, you've seen a lot about NFTs. Shopify, we are making NFTs easier for our merchants to sell directly to their stores, with one of the first being Chicago Bulls. Before Shopify offered this capability, merchants would have to sell through a third-party marketplace, aka less control over the sale and customer relationship. Once again, we are putting the power back into the hands of merchants and buying customers how and where they want to buy. I want to have actually a quick look at people's takes on this, because whilst this sounds really good, I would guess that there might be something I might miss here, and I want to make sure that I'm not missing it. So let's see what people are saying about this, shall we? Real quick. Are people happy about it? People seem to be happy so far. No one is saying anything bad too much, which is actually really good. Everything is generally in a good spot. People are clearly a bit upset about Ethereum. I honestly don't know how this is meant to work anyway, but we're gonna please add Ethereum NFT. So right now I assume it's not working with Ethereum. That will change, I'm sure. Let's actually have a listen though to what CoinDesk has to say about this. I want to hear their takes on it.
Shopify announced Monday that the company is now letting merchants sell NFTs directly to their customers. In a tweet, the president Harley Finkelstein said, before Shopify offered this capability, merchants would have to sell through a third-party marketplace, aka less control of the sale and customer relationship. He added that they're putting the power back into the hands of merchants, and their first company to offer NFTs are the Chicago Bulls. I guess they're not a company, they're a team. But they launched their NFTs yesterday. And so I'm gonna kick this down to you, Zach. I think this is really exciting. We talk about user experience and NFTs.
They ain't talking about me. Just got the same name apparently.
Now Shopify is making it allegedly easier than ever for just anyone to sell an NFT using the Chicago Bulls as their use case. What do you think of what's going on there?
Sure, let's do it. Make it easy. Everybody's doing an NFT. We got basketball teams, we got symphony orchestras, we got everybody who's doing an NFT. So the ability to bake this into people's websites, I presume, like they just spin up, right? They like spin up like a custom website. They don't have to work with like D or whatever, and they can do it direct. I think that's fantastic. If there's a way to sort of decentralize the way that these things are sold, as opposed to building up sort of these mega marketplaces, be it OpenSea, Rarible, Super Rare, Nifty Gateway, whatever, it's going to be interesting to see what this looks like if it's more of a direct relationship that doesn't need, another middleman. So interesting to see. I'm curious to see which projects ultimately find success with this model. But Naomi, what's up?
I just want to know why Jen hasn't even mentioned yet that it is based in Canada.
Canada. I know.
I feel so deceived. This was just a Canada promo.
Jen. Yeah, she sneaks them in.
Canada, just, doing it all for the world. Innovators. We are innovators. We don't often stay here, but, a lot of the greatest ideas come from right here in Canada.
And from Jen,
A lot of time to think
absolutely.
up there. Nothing to
Yeah,
I do.
yeah, that's right.
I do think from my FUD angle over here, I am recalling that with great e-commerce comes great responsibility in some ways, and that Shopify was a third party that was breached and was a part of the Ledger data hack that happened previously. So I think that the more that these sort of third parties start plugging into websites and start underpinning and connecting a lot of these things, that can have consequences down the line and can affect a much greater kind of cross section of either storefronts that get built up or other things like that. So that just felt pertinent to mention here as we're talking about you can spin these things up, you can do it quickly, it makes it easier to use. It also means that you're connected to another entity that you don't necessarily have full control over.
True.
Ben, it's really interesting you bring that up, because when I thought about this story, I thought Shopify. When I think about Shopify versus one of the many other NFT marketplaces that have popped up this year, I think probably that's going to instill trust in people.
Yes.
People are going to look at that and say, oh, they've been in business for a decade. They've managed stores big and small, but that's...
Now, the reason why that's important is not because of how we think. In fact, if you're watching this video, it doesn't even matter what you think. Much love to you all. And I'll explain why I say that. You do matter. I'm not being an ass. What I mean by that, though, is that what really matters here, especially from an investor's point of view, right? Which I would imagine many people watching this are. Not financial advice, of course, but I'm just, saying. The reality is that what really matters here for a lot of this stuff, especially, if you invest in Omi or whatever, and of course, all that comes down to collective belief, pardon me, of the system. Pardon me again. The reality is that a lot of this stuff, again, blockchain is still seen like a boogeyman, right? Now, the more people who are trusting in this, and we literally actually just made a video about Coca-Cola entering the NFT space with Decentraland, etc. And why that is so important is because it brings trust to the NFT word as such, right? As soon as people see NFT, they think of CryptoPunks and they think of scams, right? I'm not saying that CryptoPunks is scams, I'm just saying that's what people think of, right? Now, when companies like Shopify get in, of course, more people have heard of Shopify. It's the same thing, actually, I was talking about months ago when we were talking about Disney NFTs, and if Disney, of course, were to advertise their own NFTs or the Veve NFTs through Disney Plus and stuff like that, because we likely do have a Disney license with Veve, etc., seeing Marvel, whatever. If many people see NFT advertisement and marketing through a subscription service like Disney Plus, that is going to instill incredible trust into certain households, right? Because the reality is that everyone has their own motivations and everyone has their own ways of thinking, and everyone trusts different sources differently. Now, if you're asking someone to listen to Anthony Pompliano, who doesn't look into crypto or anything like that, most likely will think that there's a scam going on because of the fear of the unknown, of course. Now, when you have Disney is known as a household sort of well-known brand that people can trust as such. I'm not saying that should be or shouldn't be, but that's what it is. And so I think when companies like Shopify are entering the space, then more people essentially are going to be open to the idea of NFTs.
It's a great point that you bring up, that while the brand name is there, when it comes to the trust, we really need to be thinking about what's going on in the back end and really understanding what's happening with our data.
Yeah, the drop it's already sold out.
Ahead, Zach.
What the hell? I wanted to see what blockchain is. Who blockchain is this on? How is this working? What is going on? Anyway, sorry.
It's
That was my
everywhere.
question too.
Yeah, Naomi,
Me
sorry.
too. I tried to find it.
Yeah, well, I was just to wrap up, I was just going to talk more about the data issue that Shopify, obviously, a lot of their business model relies on them collecting information. These companies all collect huge amounts of information. And so, as Ben said, you plug these systems into the back end of your crypto products, and suddenly you're entering a whole new area of revenue raising for these companies, and you are part of their products. So just be mindful of that when you're interacting with these big, safe, because we know the name companies, they can tend to be a big honeypot for information that's targeted by...
Of course, targeted by hackers. So the reason why this is important for Ecomi and Omi is the same reason why it's important for Decentraland and other NFT projects as well. When I put in titles, and I know some people don't like it, but I honestly I'm going to do it enough to the point where people get used to it, because we need to get there, I think. When I talk about things being huge for Omi, especially in titles, it's because almost everything that we talk about here, unless we're talking about some sort of scam, but we don't normally talk about that too much on this channel, mainly because I'm not looking into it a lot. I'm just generally looking into the possibilities, ideas, etc. Right? The reality is that all these steps towards mainstream attention are going to be good for Omi, especially when they're successful attempts. Now, when you have attempts where, for example, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher are building their own animated series, and the only way that you can view this series is through buying one of their NFTs, and there are only so many NFTs, etc., right? And the NFT is like a ticket to being able to watch it, like you would have a login account, username, and password for stuff, right? Now, if that project does really well, that's going to be amazing for NFTs as a whole. If, however, it comes across as a pump and dump by any means, or anything else bad happens to it, then that is going to be another scam and another bad red mark essentially against the NFT name. I doubt that's going to be the case, knowing that Vitalik's part of it. I can't see him signing on to something without some DD, some due diligence. But regardless, I think these things in general are really important. And so I'll always talk about something that is good for Omi, right? I am very bullish on the project. I'm very excited about it. It's going to take a long time. But I think with that, because a lot of people in the community I've noticed as well, a lot of people are great, right? But there is a number of people as well who lose faith after every small thing that happens. And when I say small, I mean small to me, right? So for example, when Comic-Con was cancelled with Veve, if you like, people got really scared. People were like, oh my gosh, it's a pump and dump, all these different things. And the reality is that things happen, right? And what I'm trying to do here is hopefully giving a little bit of a better perspective on what we're looking at. The reason why I don't poop myself when things like this happen is because I try to keep a much more macro long-term view on these things. Yes, of course, 1 year Comic-Con didn't work out. That doesn't stop one of the biggest projects in the world from succeeding, or at least one of the potentially biggest projects in the world from succeeding. And so when we talk about things that are happening in the NFT space, it's all linked to each other as far as crypto literacy, I would say, because the reality is that most people watching or most people seeing this stuff don't understand crypto. They ain't gonna invest in Bitcoin because they don't know what it is, and so they certainly won't invest in Omi. But maybe, just maybe, they'll buy Omi, not necessarily for the investment, but because of the use case of the NFTs. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I would love to hear your take. With that being said, though, if this video was interesting or helpful, a like is always much appreciated. Subscribe if you're new. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. My @ is @ZakiZoo. You can follow me on there, and I talk about a lot of stuff going on in the entertainment, in the crypto, in the business landscape. But with that being said, have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.